So today, as I always do, check out the news, mostly Israeli news, find out what's going on in the Middle East, try to keep myself updated if I see anything to pay attention to and to share with the public. That's what I do. So, this morning, World Israel News, and it's also on Sputnik News. Yesterday, as we know, that Israeli Defense Minister Lieberman meets with Shoigu, the Defense Minister of Russia, and the headline is this: Report: Kremlin gives Israel green light to attack Syria. Now, this is not how do I put this? I believe this was the same headline. I can go to Sputnik and look real quick. It's already, they've already moved to the next day's news. But it was on Sputnik as well. And when you see a headline like that, and you've been around as long as I have, you know that's deception. And it's not hard to find proof of deception. All you have to do is read the first sentence. It says, the Kremlin has given its consent for Israel to attack Syria on condition. We have a condition. That it leaves Assad's assets intact. Israel Hoyam reported, citing an Arabic language newspaper. So, this article is by World Israel News staff. The Kremlin has given Israel a green light to launch attacks in Syria on condition that Syrian President Bashar Assad's assets are not targeted. Get that? On condition that President Bashar Assad's assets are not targeted, the London-based Arabic language newspaper Arshak al-Aswat reported Friday, according to Israel Hayom. According to the report, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu assured Israel Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman during a meeting in Moscow on Thursday of Russia's approval for Israeli strikes. I don't need to continue with this article, and we should go straight to another article. Actually, there's several. There's one article on Debka Weekly. I don't know if I'm going to read this one yet. And then there's another one where Bashar Assad claims that there are no Iranian troops in Syria. That's right. He said that yesterday. This is on the Jerusalem Post. The headline is, this was yesterday's news, there are no Iranian troops in Syria, Assad says. We do not have Iranian troops. We never had. Assad told Russia today in a half-hour interview on a wide array of issues involving his country posted on its website. Doesn't something sound really fishy here? Well, let's go to Debka.com and let's see just how fishy this really is. So, June 1st, Iranian Hezbollah Syrian troops building up opposite Quneitra and Dara'ah. So what we have here is we have Bashar Assad telling the Russians that there are no Iranian troops in Syria yet. And then we have the Russian defense minister tell the Israeli defense minister that you can do all the airstrikes in Syria you want as long as you don't harm any of Bashar Assad's military. You see what's going on here, folks? I'm going to read this Debka file report. Debka file exclusive. Contrary to widespread reports, Syrian, Iranian, and Hezbollah forces were moving into southern Syria on Friday, June 1st, opposite the Jordanian and Israeli Golan borders. Neither Israel nor Iran have endorsed the proposals for their removal, which on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin presented to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister General Sergei Shoigu to Israel's Avigdor Lieberman. Indeed, Debka File's military sources report that these reports were manifestly belied by 4 assertive military moves made by Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah in the last 24 hours. Number 1. Al-Quds chief, Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, ordered additional forces to bolster the 3 Revolutionary Guard command centers in southern Syria. They are situated at Isra, opposite Dara'ah on the Jordanian border, and Al-Qiswa, south of Damascus, which Israeli airstrikes targeted several times since February, and at Khan Arnaba, outside the Syrian Golan town of Quneitra, which Iranian officers shared with Hezbollah. New Iranian air defense missiles were delivered to the reinforced command centers. Number 2. A general call-up was declared on Thursday for Iran's imported Shiite militias, including Hezbollah. The Palestinian Jerusalem Battalion of Iran's Al-Quds Brigade was transferred to the Quneitra region on a short notice or on a short distance from Israel's Golan border. Number 3. They were joined by a further infusion of troops from the Syrian Army's 4th Armored Division in Damascus. The Assad regime beat the war drums with vows of an epic battle to capture Quneitra from rebel hands. However, our military experts point out that the Syrian army is short of strength for waging 2 offensives at the same time in both Dara'ah and Quneitra. Number 4. Syrian military uniforms. This is where the trap is laid, folks. In number 4. Please listen very carefully. Syrian military uniforms continued to be handed out on Friday to Hezbollah fighters deployed outside the Syrian Golan town. These Lebanese Shiite units took on the aspect of Syrian military contingents following the Russian ruse of handing out Ukrainian military uniforms to its soldiers on that East European front. Now, even a child could understand what's going on here, folks. Somebody with an IQ of 50 could understand what's going on here. They are trying to lay a trap for Israel. Why? So that Russia can get their hands on the Israeli Golan Heights. Debka files, military and intelligence sources stress once again, in spite of what you have been reading on the news, I added that no agreement exists between Russia and Israel or Russia and Iran and Syria for Iran and Hezbollah forces to exit southern Syria. It's all a big lie. It stands to reason that Tehran will never accept a deal to remove its military personnel from south, while Israel is left free to carry on striking Iranian military targets in other parts of Syria. Reports of deals are being pumped out from Russian sources alone. So is there any doubt here who the puppet master is in this charade? Is there any doubt who is directing this little 4D chess scheme against Israel? But wait. Maybe, just maybe, our Father in heaven has already got this 4D chess master in checkmate. When they tell you, oh, you can relax, folks, everything's under control, that's when you better look out. And I'm telling you, this right here looks very ominous. Be extremely alert, because you see, when they start rolling in with Syrian uniforms, when Hezbollah, Iran, and Russian military assets start rolling in with Syrian uniforms, just like the Russians did in Ukraine, you see, then you know that somebody is trying to play that crazy little 4D chess game, but they haven't factored in the higher power. They haven't factored in it is time for Israel's salvation and restoration. They haven't factored in that it is time for Israel's Messiah to come. Yes, that very Messiah that the world will call the Antichrist. So, pay attention, keep your eyes open, be ready.